Hey guys, welcome back. So today, since it's 2026 now, I was going to do like a 2025 recap kind of thing, but then when I started to edit it, there was so much footage that my iPad was crashing out. So I decided not to do that because it was going to end up taking way too long. So I figured I would just rate the places that I went this whole year. So all throughout 2025, I'm going to rate some of the places that I went. Majority of them are in Europe because I studied abroad. But I figured this would be kind of a good way to recap my year without doing like a whole thing that was going to make my iPad explode. So let's rate some of the places that I traveled. So before we get started, I'm just going to say some of the stuff, like this is fully just my opinion. But I mean, if you're looking for recommendations for places, this might be a good place to find them. I'm really, really thankful that I got to go to all of these places. And even the ones that are at the bottom of my list, I'm so glad that I went and that I got to experience. So at the end of the day, I would recommend all of these places. There's some that I like more than others. And once again, that's just my opinion. So I'm just going to rank them. We're going to start from the bottom and we're going to work our way to the top. And I'm really excited because I went to a lot of fun places. So this list, it contains of a lot of places in Italy, so a lot of different places in Italy, and then a lot of places in Europe. There's one place that's in the United States. The rest is Europe. So, yeah, let's get started. Place that was the bottom of my list is Milan in Italy, obviously. I went for a class trip, which I was excited for because I had wanted to go to Milan anyway. And when I went there, it was kind of rainy the whole time, but that's not necessarily why I ranked it so low. I was not wowed by it, especially as a fashion student. It's like one of the fashion capitals, so I expected more, especially since it was a class trip, and it just like didn't blow me away. I feel like the buildings were very modern, which isn't necessarily what you think of when you think of Italy. The cathedral there is beautiful. I will give it that. It's really pretty. But otherwise, like, thinking back, like, I can't think of something that's, like, amazing that happened when I was in Milan. Like, it just didn't blow me away, basically. And the weather probably didn't help, but it just wasn't my favorite. And I was expecting it to be a lot better than it was. The next thing on my list is Prato, which is in Italy. It's like really close to Florence, which is where I studied abroad. Once again, I went here for a class trip too, and it's a big textile place, which is why we went. So that was kind of cool, but we were only there for like less than a day. So it was like really, really quick, and it just like we didn't really do much. I'm a merch major, not a design, and I feel like this place was targeted towards design a little bit more. So it was really interesting to see from my viewpoint, but it wasn't necessarily beneficial to me, if that makes sense. It was pretty. We had nice weather while we were there, but like I said, there just wasn't really anything crazy. Like this place, I probably wouldn't recommend visiting. There's not much to do. Like, but it was still nice. Next is Pisa, Italy. Seeing the Leaning Tower is super cool. If you get the opportunity, you should definitely do it. But however, that is the only thing there. Like, you go, there's the Leaning Tower, there's like a couple restaurants there, and then there's like these markets, and that's it. And the markets are like the same markets you see all around Italy. So like it's not even any different. They have a few more pizza items, but you can also find all of those pizza items at other places. So this is one of those things where if you are taking the train there, book your return. Either wait to book your return until you're getting ready to leave, or if you're booking it, book it not that far after when you arrive, because there's there's not much to do there at all. I ended up getting to Pisa like 2 hours later than I had planned on it, and it was totally fine because I was still walking around aimlessly for like an hour. But yeah, seeing the Leaning Tower is really cool though, so I would recommend it still. Another place we went was Lucca, Italy. This was also another class trip, and we didn't, like, I don't really know why we went. We did, like, a walking tour. I can't even remember the rest of the stuff we did. But it was all right. This is another thing where I'm glad I went like for a class trip. I don't know if I'd recommend it if like you're just going, because it's like it's just like a town. Like they're just doing their lives, and there's like not any crazy things, especially for tourists. But it was really cute. Like it was a really cute little town. And I know I went to like this little like bakery thing while I was there that was pretty good. So wasn't bad, but it also just like once again, like all of these ones at the bottom, there just like wasn't much. But I'm still glad that I went. Okay, now we're moving out of Italy for the first time. Next we have Salzburg, Austria. And so I went on like a weekend trip. It was Budapest, Vienna, and Salzburg. And Salzburg was kind of like we stopped there for a little less than a day. And the main reason you go to Salzburg is because they have the Sound of Music tour. I did not do the Sound of Music tour because I didn't want to pay for it because I had never seen the movie. So like I knew it wouldn't be like an insane thing for me because I've never seen the movie. So I ended up just kind of walking around the town while some people went on the tour. And this is another place where like there's not much besides the tour. So if you really like Sound of Music, Salzburg is really beautiful. Like it's a really cute little town. And if you like Sound of Music, you should go and do the tour. I think that would be really, really cool. If you don't know anything about the Sound of Music, maybe don't go. Like I just kind of walked around. They did have some like people on the streets playing music, which was really good. They had little shops and everything. Like I wasn't necessarily ever bored while I was walking around. Also, they had these like pickle statues. So, I don't know, kind of fun. A little random. Okay, now we're moving on to the one that is in the United States. And that's St. Louis, Missouri. So I did my internship there over the summer, and I'm so thankful that my internship was in a different state, that I was in a place that I'd never been, that I got to experience life kind of outside of where I live. And I'm really glad that my internship was like that. However, St. Louis, I liked it. I'm glad that I had a summer there. I think it was a great place for a summer, especially because I was staying by Wash U, so there's like a lot of shops and stuff in that direction. And my internship was great, so don't really have anything like bad to say about that. St. Louis just, I don't know how to explain it. It's just like not my favorite place. The biggest thing with St. Louis is the actual city isn't like very popular. It's pretty run down. And I love like a city setting. And I did know that going into it, that like St. Louis, like as a city, like wasn't, like the actual city wasn't like crazy. So I think that was probably one of the biggest things for me, is just like their like city downtown isn't the safest. I really liked the Muni though. That was cool. And like I said, my internship was great. So I would do that again. I loved my internship. I would do it again. I would go to St. Louis again. I just couldn't see myself living there full time. And the arts was really cool. Okay, we're moving back to Italy. We have Como, Italy. And I know a lot of people think of like Lake Como, which I was by Lake Como. I was not in like the touristy part. That was a completely different part of Como. And it was really pretty. The water was really nice. It was a little cold when I was there, but also I was only there for like less than a day. So I didn't even really get to do a ton while I was there, but it was really pretty, which is why I have it up a little bit more above some of the ones that I was just talking about. Once again, like wasn't a crazy amount of stuff that I did. One, because of where we were, two, because of how long we were there. But like I said, it was really pretty. The water was really pretty. There were like swans, which was cool. I don't know. I feel like I've never seen one before, at least not out in the wild. But they had little shops too. Overall, it was good. And I'm sure if you go to like Lake Como, like the part everyone knows about, it's like pretty nice. But I just wasn't there. Okay, now we're gonna move on to Barcelona, Spain. I went for the second half of my spring break, so I was there for about 4 or 5 days, and it was nice. I'm so glad I went to Barcelona. I've wanted to go for so long. It does suck though. It was raining like the whole time I was there, so that put a damper on things. Not really, if I'm being honest. I didn't have a lot planned when I went. Like, there wasn't a list of things. I was like, we need to do this while I'm in Barcelona, you know? I kind of just walked around and, like, did whatever. The food there was so good. Paella is, like, one of their popular dishes, and it's so good. Especially if you like seafood and you can get seafood paella. It was so good. Like, I think about it more than I probably should. As for the city itself, it was nice. I loved the buildings, like the architecture and everything. Like, it was just cool. I like the way the city's set up. I will say it's not very walkable though. Like, everything is very spread out. I still walked because I didn't want to pay for a taxi. But yeah, it's not the most walkable, which compared to Florence, which is where I was staying, Florence is very walkable. So Barcelona, it was kind of like, dang, like everything is like a 30-minute walk. But it was okay. Because like I said, I was there for like 4 or 5 days and I had time, so I just walked. We also went by the water when we were there, which was really pretty. So there is definitely like a lot of stuff to do there. It's one of those things though, I would maybe research it a little more before when I went, I didn't really research it, so I didn't really know what I was doing. Also, the hostel that I stayed at in Barcelona was really nice. It was the cheapest hostel I stayed at. I stayed in like 2 that I actually paid for. And the hostel was so nice. So it was called Yeah Hostel in Barcelona. I would 100% recommend if you're looking for like a cheap place to stay. And it was also pretty central. So like, I know I said it's not that walkable, but it was like a good location. Okay, moving up, we have Munich, Germany. I went here for Springfest, and I really liked Germany. I think it would be ranked higher if the circumstances were different. I did like a camping thing, so I was camping there, and then I went to Springfest. So that was the bulk of what I did. I was at a campsite, and then I was at Springfest. I went into like the city for a little bit one day, and that was kind of it. So I feel like I can't rank it higher when I didn't do a bunch of stuff there. But I do think Munich was really, really nice. Like, I would totally want to go back and do other stuff besides like Springfest. Their public transport was really easy to figure out. I did like buses and there were like trains and stuff, and it was so easy to figure out there. So that is a plus. I traveled there by myself. I ended up meeting up with people that I knew, but I was traveling there by myself. I did a lot of traveling in Munich by myself, and it was super easy to figure out. Like, so easy. One of the easiest, honestly, if I'm being real. Next, we're going to Switzerland. I loved Switzerland. I thought it was so beautiful. It's 100% a place to go. I went to Interlaken specifically, and I loved it. Like, the little town is so cute. Once again, the food here was also really good. I got fondue, like cheese fondue, so good. And they had chocolate-covered strawberries, which were really good. Like, it was so good. My only thing is Switzerland is like very expensive. I feel like a lot of people know this. Switzerland is very expensive. But it's very thrill-seeking. So they have like skiing and stuff. I went paragliding, which was really cool. It was a little pricey, like I said, but it was fun. They had a lot of fun stuff that you could do there. Just make sure that your bank account is ready for it. But the mountains are really pretty. The drive there, I was on a bus and we like bussed through, and it was so beautiful. Interlaken was great. I would highly recommend going there. Out of places in Switzerland, I haven't been to other places in Switzerland, but Interlaken was great. So I would recommend. Okay, now we have Castiglioncello, Italy. I think I'm saying that right. I don't know. It's like a little small beach. I went here. This was like one of the last places that I went before I left Florence, like before I left study abroad. And I really liked it. It was so pretty. The water there wasn't like super cold or hot. It was like one of those things you get in it and you adjust to it really, really quickly. But it was just so pretty. Like, it was a little beach. I will say this sand stuck to you like no other sand ever. Like, it was a little overstimulating. But it was so pretty that I didn't even care. It was a really fun day trip. Like, I didn't have to book a place to stay or anything. It was a train ride from Florence. So if you're studying abroad in Florence and you just like need sun and a beach, go there. It's really worth it. And they have like a little shop when you're walking from the train station to the actual beach where you can get like snacks and stuff too. So it's pretty fun. Next we have Rome, Italy. I think Rome is a place that everyone should see. Like that's pretty much it. I think there's so much to see there. I did Rome in a day, which if you are going to Rome, I would recommend spreading it out. However, I didn't want to pay for a place to stay in Rome, so I trained there, saw Rome, and then trained back. And I'm really glad that I went. Like, there's so much stuff to see there. It is a very tourist-heavy location, but, like, kind of for a reason. There's so much to see. There's, like, I also went into the Vatican. I'm just kind of, like, including that in Rome because they're so close, even though they are technically different. But we went to the Vatican and Rome, and, like, there's so much to see. I'm telling you, this was probably one of the longest days ever, and I don't know how I fit everything into it, but it was worth it. Even though I did get scammed by some tourist traps, but it's okay. Next, we have Vienna, Austria. This place honestly surprised me. Like, I said, Budapest, Vienna, Salzburg. I said that a little bit ago. I did that trip, and I was really excited to, like, see these places because they were nothing that, like, that I was ever like, oh, I really, really need to go there. But I got the opportunity, and I was like, I might as well. Like, why not? So when I went to Austria, it was so beautiful. Like, it's this little town, and they have so many different buildings and, like, everything. Like, I'm trying to think of a place in Austria that, like, I didn't like, and it was just so pretty. Or I guess in Vienna. I only went to 2 places in Austria. But I'm trying to think of a place in Vienna that I just didn't like, and, like, all of it was just so beautiful. Like, the buildings and everything. We had a little tour guide that did a little walking tour of Vienna, and he was great. They have good food too, like, so good. I would recommend Austria. I thought it was so pretty. But this is one of the things, if you're going there for, like, more than a couple of days, so maybe research things to do. I was only there for, like, a day, so I had plenty of stuff to do in that time because, like I said, I wasn't there that long. But totally worth it. And it, like, shocked me that it was so pretty. Like, I figured it would be, but it was, like, way prettier than I thought. Next, we have Cinque Terre in Italy. This is kind of like, if you guys don't know this, like, the movie Luca, it's, like, the setting in Luca was based off this, I think. If not, they look very similar. And this was also just a little day trip I did. It was so pretty. It's so cute. It's just, like, a little town on, like, the coast of Italy, and it's so pretty. The boats, the water, the buildings, everything's so colorful and lively. They have pesto pizza there that's really good too. But overall, if you're in Florence, this is, like, for me, this would be a must-have place to go because it's a day trip. It's not that expensive if you're doing it with a travel company and stuff. It's pretty easy to figure out. There's, like, a bunch of different islands. So the one I did, we went to like 3 of them, I think. And it was really cool. Like, I would totally go again. I loved it. Then we have Crema. So if any of you guys have seen Call Me By Your Name, Crema is where it was filmed. And I love that movie. My friends love that movie. So we went to Crema because we wanted to see some of the filming locations. And that was so cool. We rented bikes and we biked 40 minutes to this pond, like the pond in the movie. And it was so cool. Like, I was basically just biking through Italian countryside listening to the Call Me By Your Name soundtrack. And when I think about that, that's, like, top 10 moments of my life for sure. It was so peaceful. I'm not even gonna lie, like, looking at the farm, it did not look much different than, like, places in America, but, like, it just felt, like, happier, if that makes sense. And the bike I was riding was a little big, but I didn't wreck, so that's good. Overall, like, it was a cute little town. I loved the vibes there. It's the best thing I can say. Also, the little pond we went to, which is where I was most of the time, was so peaceful. So I would totally recommend. Next, we have Venice, Italy. Venice, I went here for a class trip also, and I was so excited that this was a class trip because I was going to go no matter what. But when it's a class trip, it's, like, already paid for with the fees I did. So basically it felt free, even though it wasn't. But, you know, it was so cool. Venice, for me, was exactly what I had imagined it to be. Like, all the gondolas, the boats, the walkways. I thought it was so fun. Like, I feel like I had such a great time there. And it was so pretty. I was there for, like, a couple days. We went to another island over off of Venice. While I was there, we went to a glass museum. We got to... Their big thing is the masks. Went to a mask store, which was really cool. We got to see how they make them, which was cool, so that was fun. So overall, Venice is super pretty. I did ride a gondola. You should definitely go and do that because it's really cool. It's really pretty. Okay, then second to last, we have Florence, which you may be wondering, how is that not one? Well, we'll get there. I loved Florence. It was an amazing study abroad place. It was close to so many things. The city is so walkable. Like, you can literally leave your apartment and make it places so quick. My apartment was also in a really good location. I got gelato like every other night. It was just so fun. It was a completely different lifestyle, and it was so cool to be immersed in it for so long, which, well, 4 months, I don't know, that's kind of long. But it was really, really great. Like, it was very easy to kind of adjust, but it was also very different from like the United States. So I would totally recommend it. It's a big study abroad location. So, I mean, if you're a little nervous about it, you're going to be with a bunch of other people that are studying abroad. So it's really, really fun. Also, the Duomo is so cool. Like, I saw it so many times, and I like feel like I took a picture of every single time I walked by it because it was so pretty. And that brings us to our last place, which was Paris, France. This is where I went for the first half of spring break, and I was only there for like 2 days. But I'm not kidding. I loved this city. Like, there was so much to do. It's so lively. And it was just so fun. Like, I loved walking around it. You saw the Eiffel Tower. I loved the architecture, everything about it. I loved it. I also studied abroad in London like 2 years ago, and that was amazing. And Paris kind of reminded me of London, which was really nice, except it has the Eiffel Tower. So that was probably my favorite place I went. And yeah, even better than Florence, even though I loved Florence. And that was the video this week. I hope you guys liked it. Don't forget to subscribe and then follow me on Instagram and TikTok for more content. I do have a TikTok very similar to this video too. So, like I said, follow me on Instagram and TikTok. And then don't forget that I post every Friday at 3. Bye.